All right, let's do an example where we're going to graph an equation and then we're going to find the y value for a specific value of x. So we're going to trace. First, click Use Calculator and let's select the Graphing Calculator option. So now in my blue entry bar, we can tap in what equation do we want to graph. This example, we're going to look at 1 over x plus 2, where the 1 over x is our fraction, and then I'm going to add 2 to it. So one thing I want to say is, notice in this example, the plus 2 is to the side. It's not included in that denominator. If it were, we would actually need to use parentheses around the denominator to show that x plus 2 is in the denominator of that fraction. Notice this is a completely different graph here. So I'm just going to go 1 over x and then plus 2. All right, so we want to find what is y when x is 5. So first, click the keyboard button down. That makes that disappear, and you can see there's the equation that we graphed and the graph. Simply swipe down, and now you can see the graph on the whole screen. In order to trace, we're going to click this arrow to the left that's up in that right corner, and you can see by clicking that, that opens up a whole nother menu of trace, max min, roots, intersection, things like that for the graph. In this case, we're going to trace, and that's our very first selection there. So now I'm going to run my finger along the graph, and we're going to find what is it equal to when x is 5. There we go. So at 5, notice the corresponding y value is 2.2. Now, what is y when x is negative 1? So same thing, I'm going to scroll over here to where x is negative 1. And notice we get the point negative 1, 1. So when x is negative 1, we get the y value of 1. So I want to talk about for a second here, what if we want to zoom out and in and find different values? Well, since I'm tracing right now, notice as I'm tapping the screen, it's just going to trace along. I can still zoom in by using 2 fingers and pinching the screen, or zoom out by using my fingers and expanding on the screen. But notice I cannot move right or left, and that's because I have the trace feature going right now. If you do want to move it right or left, simply just uncheck that trace feature. And now notice if I move my finger along, I can move to the right or left and up and down. So let's zoom out. And then once again, let's go trace. So notice now I'm tracing along my equation again. But once again, I cannot move up or down, right or left, because the trace feature is highlighted. So if I want to do that, just simply uncheck it. And now I can continue to move it around.